The JAK Signal Burst is an aftermarket part that you can unlock from the Season 1 Week 5 challenges or a to-be-determined unlock challenge down the line. In this video, I'll be sharing how this conversion kit works, as there are a few features it has that you won't notice on first glance, plus some best practices so you can get the most out of it. Please don't forget to drop a like if you find this video valuable. The JAK Signal Burst is designed for the Holger 5.56, and the weekly challenges to unlock it are all centered around that assault rifle. Now, one of the things you may not notice is that this kit can be used on another weapon, and that weapon is the DM56 Marksman rifle. There are differences between using the JAK Signal Burst on the DM56 versus the Holger 5.56, and most of those differences can be summed up to Marksman rifle versus assault rifle traits, such as handling speeds are going to be faster on the Holger 5.56. But overall, this kit makes both weapons function the same. I personally lean towards preferring it on the DM56 for reasons I'll share as we go on. If you haven't noticed by now, the Signal Burst converts each weapon into a 4-round burst capable of one bursting. You'll need to land all 4 shots to do this with both of the weapons, and if you do, you can kill in 300 milliseconds, which is pretty great. That's a faster time to kill in Modern Warfare 3, outgunning most weapons, and more importantly, the other burst weapons that are currently available in the game. The JAK Signal Burst will only lose to a handful of the sub 300 millisecond weapons in this game, like the BAS-B and the WSP Swarm. The thing is, this also has the longest burst delay between the burst weapons. So if you don't hit a 1 burst kill, your time to kill becomes one of the slowest in the game. I haven't done the exact math for that, but the burst delay is roughly 200 milliseconds, so you're looking at about a 500 millisecond 2-burst kill if you happen to not get a 1 shot. And you rarely see time to kills above 500 milliseconds in this game. So those other 2 burst weapons are definitely going to be much more forgiving, but they don't pack quite as much of a punch as this Signal Burst does. One last thing you should know before we move on from all this time to kill talk is that the Signal Burst has the potential to actually harm your time to kill. Not so much on the Holger 5.56, but for the DM56. And I use potential because most players won't actually be affected by this. Normally, the DM56 kills in 3 to 4 shots, and it has the potential to 2-shot to the head. But with the Signal Burst aftermarket part, your damage is reduced to match the damage of the Holger 5.56. So the DM56 is a 4-shot kill at all times, which is slightly slower than the semi-auto 2-shot. But at the same time, a 1 burst is significantly faster than a semi-auto 4-shot kill at range, or if you happen to miss a shot. So if you have a trigger finger to match the fire rate and or you are accurate and can hit headshots, you're going to be slightly better off using the DM56 normally, and again, slightly better off. But for most people whose trigger finger is slow, the Signal Burst will actually be helping you out. And by slow trigger finger, I mean that you can't match the 430 rounds per minute fire rate that the DM56 has, which is pretty hard to do. I consider myself to have a pretty fast trigger finger, and I hover around that when I'm spamming as fast as possible, to the point of actually harming my accuracy. But again, for most players, the JAK Signal Burst will be helping you if you can land the 1 burst kills. Another hidden feature of this aftermarket part is that it comes with an integrated optic and a laser. The laser helps increase hipfire and your tac stance accuracy, and it only displays when you are ADS. I'm unsure if the laser is visible to enemies. My teammates say it's visible to them. I've done a split screen test in a private match, and it wasn't visible to me looking at it from the enemy perspective. And I personally haven't run into anyone using this part in game to actually see for myself, but I don't think this is that visible when you're ADS. I could be wrong though, but it is a nice bonus to have that frees up 2 attachment slots. The conversion kit also will boost your bullet velocity, which is one less stat to worry about. The only real downside to using this kit is that it comes with slightly slower ADS and sprint to fire speeds, and then there's recoil. On the Holger 5.56, the recoil goes straight up, and it seems like it'll be easy to manage when you start adding attachments to it, where the DM56's recoil is much more intense. It'll pull diagonally, and there's a large gap between the second and third shot. But with attachments, I personally tend to prefer the DM56. It just feels way easier to land one burst kills for some reason. It felt way more effective than the Holger. I felt like I was getting a lot more hit markers when using it in the assault rifle mode, which doesn't really make sense because recoil seemed easier to manage. I would imagine it would be easier to hit one burst kills with that, but that's totally not what I felt in game. Now, as for which weapon the JAK Signal Burst is better on, I personally recommend the DM56. The only problem you run into with the DM56 is a lack of ammo, because it is a Marksman rifle, so you are going to have much less rounds in reserve, and I did find myself running out of ammo really quickly without the scavenger gloves or a ammo box equipped, which you may have picked up on in my gameplay earlier in this video. That kind of works in your favor though, because it encourages you to preserve your ammo and to take time to line up your shots to make each of your shots count. And maybe that's why I feel like the DM56 felt more consistent than the Holger 5.56 does. But in the grand scheme of things, the JAK Signal Burst performs similarly on both weapons. It's great in close quarters to mid-range combat where you can easily land those one burst kills, but when you start to stretch out your range, the odds of you landing all 4 shots in a burst significantly decreases, and you'll likely be better off using the regular Holger 5.56 or the regular DM56 at that point. I don't see the JAK Signal Burst Conversion Kit being that great of an option on maps with long lines of sight like Afghan. I think this is better suited for medium-sized maps like Subbase. It's more reminiscent of the 48 Dredge from, was that Black Ops 4? Or the Swordfish was definitely from Black Ops 4. It's more reminiscent of those slower firing one-burst weapons, where I wish it was more like the M8A1 from Black Ops 2. I think a lot of people were hoping that the conversion kit would be doing that. The M8A1 was a really good fast-firing burst AR. It felt more like the DG56 assault rifle in Modern Warfare 3 that fires really, really fast, but the M8A1 could one-burst kill. The JAK Signal Burst unfortunately doesn't have that firing speed. I'm still holding out hope that the FR 5.56 gets an aftermarket part that makes it a fast-firing, accurate 4-burst weapon, so it could one-burst, but we'll have to wait and see if that ever happens. But that's all I have to share for this video. Now it's your turn. What do you think about the JAK Signal Burst? Have you tried it? Are you liking it? Or does this seem like something you will end up passing on? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Please don't forget to tap like on the video if you haven't already. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.